Well, now the conflict over water in the Klamath Basin goes back decades, we should point out, but that area has seen other environmental crises for even longer. So that being said, we dug into the KGW vault and we found a documentary from 1958 called Crisis in the Klamath Basin. It was actually produced by former Oregon Governor Tom McCall before he was governor. Take a look.
The land, the trees, and the marsh. These are three of the main elements of crisis in the Klamath Basin. A crisis brought to a head by congressional passage of Public Law 587 in 1954 to terminate nearly 100 years of federal trusteeship over the Klamath Indians. Then there's an additional element, the economy of the Klamath Basin, an economy that relies heavily on pine timber. What happens to that logging and milling economy if termination runs its course by April 1960, as prescribed by 587, causing as much as 4 billion feet of Indian timber to be sold in less than 2 years? With a perpetual source of 26% of the basin's timber, thus jerked out from under-sustained yield management, what of the future of the area's largest city, Klamath Falls, and what tomorrow awaits the town of Chiloquin in the heart of the reservation?
If you guys haven't heard old-timey Dan's impression of voices like that, you really should. It's great. Okay, so back in the early 20th century, the Klamath tribe was one of the wealthiest tribes in the country. Their economy was built from timber on their reservation and then also livestock. But then in 1954, the federal government passed Public Law 587, or the Klamath Termination Act. They terminated the tribe's federal recognition and dissolved them, forcing members to assimilate into the larger society. The tribes did not support the termination, but the government offered them a huge settlement to leave the reservation, $58,000 a person. And again, that was in 1954. So the majority of the tribe voted to take the money, but in order to actually pay that money, the government would have had to clear cut the reservation's forest.
The election just concluded was the high point of Tom Waters' 3 years of government work to facilitate termination. This tabulation of some 1,800 ballots in Klamath Falls showed that about 75%, or approximately 1,600 Indians, intended to withdraw. Under the Seton bill payment schedule of $58,000 per share, this totals $93 million, or $3 million above the ceiling, beyond which several influential U.S. senators say they will not go.
All right, so destroying the forest would have driven down the price of wood and hurt the Klamath Basin's timber industry, leaving them without a sustainable source of timber in the future. So Tom McCall showed the documentary to Congress, and they passed a bill that only allowed some of the wood to be sold, and the rest became most of the Fremont-Winema National Forest. As for the Klamath, though, the Termination Act devastated the tribes. They dealt with poverty and mental health issues that are still ongoing, but they were able to have their tribe restored in 1986. Always worth going into the vault.